Render therefore to all their due. Geranda. When we purchase something for a monastery, some people don't want to issue us a receipt. What must we do? They should always issue you an invoice, and you should also have fewer requirements. You should limit your needs and repair only what is absolutely necessary. This is what I would do if I were in your place. God will provide for what you need. When we monastics ask people not to issue invoices, we are actually causing others to sin. They think to themselves, since the monasteries are doing it, when we, who are supposed to obey the commandments of God, act this way, what will people think? Won't they be scandalized? The Holy Scripture reads, "Render therefore to all their due." Even when I send a letter with a person and not through the post office, I still put a stamp on it. Lay people may justify their actions any way they want, but if monasteries start acting this way, honesty will soon disappear, and the gospel will be put aside. We monastics will be providing a negative sermon, a negative example, and we do not give freely of our own material goods. If anyone would sue and take thy coat, let him have thy cloak as well. That allows lay people to find excuses for their faults, since they are looking for a way to comfort their conscience. We must be careful because we will have no way to justify our actions on the day of judgment. Our goal should be primarily to defend spiritual principles rather than material things. But for some reason they do not give you an invoice, you must consider this a spiritual loss. Geranda. It happens sometimes that a person will give a small amount as a donation to the monastery and ask us to give him a receipt for a bigger amount in order to present it as a tax-deductible expense. What must we do in this case? You must tell them, we don't issue receipts for a bigger amount. If you don't agree, we will return your money, and you may find someone else who will accommodate you. Be careful not to catch this disease. Geranda. A handyman asked us to officially fire him, so that he could collect unemployment benefits while still working for us. Oh no, that is not right. All it takes is a bit of conscience to see how wrong this is. It is not proper for a monastery to get involved in such matters. It is better to pay the handyman double what he charges, even if you are in financial difficulty, in order to discourage him from such behavior. It is that serious. Blessed deeds bring more blessings, while injustice brings disaster. You should be very careful with these matters. You should also not haggle with workmen to pay them less. This cries out to God. This is why we have fires and other catastrophes in monasteries. A civil servant takes an oath to perform his job in an honest way. For us monastics, this oath is twice as demanding. The promise we make is spiritual, and if we break it, it is a double sin for us. So that there is a discernible difference, we monastics must maintain a balance between what is secular and what is spiritual. God does not give us grace to an erroneous condition. It would be like helping the devil. Be careful to put sincerity and honesty first. Otherwise, you will end up in the same condition as the world, like a drunk who staggers and cannot walk straight. Can anyone in that condition stand on his own 2 feet? God's wrath will surely come. We shall be put to the fire. We shall be put to the test. In the first phase, gold will be separated from brass. In the second, the number of carats in the gold of each of us will become clear. The world lives in a falsehood. People now are raised to be liars. They have made up a new kind of conscience. But I will not become a liar and turn into something I am not, simply because society demands it. I would rather tell the truth and suffer. One must be careful not to enter the secular orbit. Take our financial system today, it is of little help. People are forced to declare a smaller income. Once I reprimanded some tax officials who happened to be men of faith. What is the matter with you? I asked them. You must make sure to keep some of the yeast intact with honest behavior. I know of too many wrongdoings in your department. Someone comes to the revenue service and says, I have an income of 1,000,000 drachmas. But your official puts down that the man has an income of 3,000,000 drachmas. He assumes that he is revealing only a third of his income, as is common practice, and that this hike will make up the difference. But if he is dealing with an honest person, tripling his income in this manner will backfire. It will lead him to cheat on his taxes the next year. In other words, instead of helping change the situation for the better, you are making things worse. But we don't know when they are telling us the truth, one of the men said. Start living a spiritual life, I replied, and you will know. You will then be able to tell the difference. God will inform you and you will know.